Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I need to bring in all of my plants that were outside. These are poinsettias. I have a lot of other ones that I need to bring inside, but today I also need to repot these, so that's mostly what I'm going to be showing you. I have a lot of these plants here. This guy is a longevity spinach, has a bunch of great properties, and makes a beautiful edible houseplant. This guy's a Dieffenbachia, and I don't know if you can see the very tips of the fronds here, but I also have a palm plant back there. My house is full of plants, but this is the time where all of the babies from outside need to come back in. So today I'm going to just show you how I'm going to repot these. These are still in the same containers that the store had them in. I do have two of them, and they're now very big and tree-like. These were probably just little domes like this before, and they had that kind of metallic foil covering on the outside. These are probably pretty big as far as root ball goes, so I've got some pretty big potting containers. This should be decent size. The other one's a little different, but around the same size. But that'll give it a little bit of room to expand, and I can put him back out when the weather is right next year. But this is the first whole year, or maybe even the second year. I've had these plants for a while. They're actually my longest lasting poinsettias. And these are the kinds that have the white leaved flower that has kind of that pinky peachy center. And one of them was actually close to death. It was somebody else's, and I took it and revived it. And that was this littler one. I took him and revived it. And they were about the same size, and they were from the same year. They're in the same pot. This one's a little bit bigger and bushier. Basically what I have found is poinsettias really like to be moist, and they would rather be moist than be dry. The second they get dry, these all droop really badly and start falling off. For years, I wanted to know the secret to a healthy poinsettia, and over time, I have found that is the secret. A lot of plants, I'm still working on finding all of the best treatment, care, and tips for longevity, and these plants seemed to hold out really well. I don't know if it's necessarily the color. I do know that most poinsettias are put through extremes to make them look the way they do for the holidays. Most natural poinsettias are much big and bushier and have a lot less showier flowers. But I feel like these have been good as houseplants, with or without blooms. I'm happy with it. I'm happy to say that they're still alive. If they bloom, great. If not, that's fine. They're beautiful just as the green foliage, but my nights have started getting really cold, and it's almost freezing at night. We're just now starting to kind of get those fall weather days and then those colder nights. And this is like the first week of that. So this is when I'm going to pull in all the babies, and let's just get right on into repotting these babies specifically. So for the first one, I'm just going to start with the baby one, and we're going to take the smaller of the two pots, which is still a rather big pot. It's definitely got way more room for this to live in. As you can see, there is about 2/3 of the way full. Okay. So we want to dig a little hole. First, I'm going to pull out his little name tag, and we're just going to pull this out very gently from the pot. Dump in any extras we might have going on in there. And I'm not going to disturb the root ball too much, but I'm going to give it a couple squeezes. I'm not going to break it up a whole lot. I used to think that that was the way to do it, but I'm now hearing a lot of places are saying, don't break it up so much. So just a little bit. And I'm going to set this down in, dig a little hole so it can set in nicely. I'm just kind of pulling a little bit of that dirt up to the side so this can settle in. Oh, I've got a little spider friend here that was hanging out in there. Apparently, I'm just gonna let him be. He's fine. I used to be so scared of spiders, y'all, but I got a tarantula and had him as a pet for quite some time, and that will change your whole deal. But anyhow, this guy is in. I do have an extra pot that I kind of have my soil in here, so it was easy for me to transfer in, and I'm just gonna, I don't think I am gonna use my spoon. I'm gonna actually use this pot to kind of pick up some dirt and put it in. I feel like I might need to adjust this a little because it sits at kind of an angle. This is growing up at kind of an angle, so I'm going to adjust that to make it a little straighter there. We're just going to add soil until all of this free space is full. This soil is full of homemade compost as well as inoculated with worms. There's all kinds of worms creating more babies in there. So that will help the plant through the winter, and the worm population will grow. And then once I transfer it, I will have lots more worm-laden soil as well as a big beautiful plant to put an even bigger pot. So this is the first one. He's kind of empty on that side or leaning towards this side, and you remediate that by putting this side towards your sunny window, and that will regroup the leaves to the bare spot to give it more of a full look. So here's this one. You can tell it was getting cold outside because they started getting a little yellow. I might have waited a day too late, but I'll say I saved this guy, and hopefully he will spruce himself up and this yellow leaf may come back. I don't know. But there is a lot of new growth coming from all of the little growth nodes. And there is little sprout guys coming from the bottom or base or stalk of this plant. So I'm definitely happy with this plant. And if you can see this, maybe not because the leaves are in the way. This is also a new growth. This whole piece is like an extra branch. So there is a lot of growth on this, and I'm super happy to see that. Where this yellow leaf is, this actually was completely broken off, and now there are 3 separate little branch nodes on here. Again, I don't know if you can see it because of the leaves, but here's one with really tiny leaves, and here's another one. So, plant number 1, done. And the second container is a little bit shorter and a little bit wider, but it's around the same. And let's go with our second plant. This one also has a little bit of new growth. This is totally a new branch. I don't know if you guys can see from way back there, but this guy here, new branch. So again, we're just going to take out the little name tag, which you can totally put back in your plant. If you have a huge collection and you're not going to remember, just go ahead and put it back in there. But let's get this little leaf out. And we're going to, again, very gently kind of loosen and rock and pull this guy out. And that gives us another little worm babies in here. Put these worm babies in here. I was inspecting in here. Anyhow, So again, about 2/3 full. You're going to leave a couple inches worth of space for yourself to get in there and put this thing. And again, just kind of loosen the roots, crunch them a little bit, but don't completely tear them apart. Don't completely go in and loosen everything. You just want a little bit of room for them to kind of expand and wiggle out. You don't want to completely destroy anything. So we make our little space for it. Get them down in there. If it's easier for you to just fill it halfway full and then just pour the dirt in after, that's also acceptable. There is no real right way to do this. This is just what's easiest for me, is I feel like if I fill it up mostly, it gives me less times going back and forth with the dirt, which kind of makes a little mess on the table, which I know you guys don't see, but there are crumbles happening. Got an itchy nose dealing with all these plants. Okay, these are not pollen plants either, so I don't know why, but I'm so sensitive. As far as allergies, my biggest allergy is dust, and that's everywhere. So if you watch my other channels and hear my voice change all the time, that is why. I just feel like it would be a bit redundant to mention that every video. But here we're gonna just kind of fill this in. Oh, I'm knocking them over trying to fill it in. We're not doing that anymore. I'm just going to go in with my hand and dump it with this. Just kind of scoop it all in. But now that we're getting deeper into this, it's a little more compact. So I'm going to have to stir it up a bit. And I can't see in there because it's really dark. And right now, it's a bit dark in the house. So, yeah. Just gonna give this a little bit of breakup. The bottom is really compact. Jeez. Okay, that should be enough to finish this. Couldn't really get down in there though. It was too heavy of soil. The platelets were stuck together, so I couldn't really grab us any more soil. I just could not really get down in here, so I went and scraped that up and then grabbed myself some more. But I'm going to move this because I don't want to be in the way with it. Just going to pour this in here. Level it on out. And get this other side. If you lift it and don't push the branches, then you're okay to just dump it. But I was doing it in a really nonchalant way that just seemed a little disruptive. I'm just grabbing all these soil crumbs from the table, which I know you can't see. Sorry about that, but it's getting a little messy. And we're going to just stir this a little more again. I don't know if you can see it, but it's really hard in the bottom and it doesn't move. So I need to just scrape some free. This has kind of just been sitting, waiting for me to use it all summer, and I didn't do it. So the rain and everything else has kind of just compacted down. And this should be our last or second to last little scoop. We're going to come right on in. Dump. Press in. One more scoop should do. And I'm just gonna go right on into this last spot. And that is that. Got yourself another beautiful plant ready to be inside for the fall and winter. So now I have 2 little empty pots. So there is the second one. So some pots, I feel the need to mention this because if you go and water it and make a mess on the floor, that's a problem. So some plants come without anything in the bottom. There's just holes. Some planters, if I said plants, I meant planters. Some planters or pots come with these pre-catchment trays kind of attached to them. So this one's fine. But this one is just kind of straight up, floating in the wind. So this here, we're going to use as our catchment tray for this one. That looks just fine. It actually has the same kind of crisscross pattern on it, so that's just fine. And then you're going to want to water these babies. I just got a big mug. No brand sponsorship here. I know it's got a name on it, but that's neither here nor there. So we're going to go ahead and water these. Just a little sprinkle around. Should do. They just want to reroot. Go and get another one. Okay, I'm back. So I just went ahead and filled this up. This is going to be way easier. We're just going to do the spin around. Sorry for any weird squeaky noises. We're going to water these babies really good. And once they're nice and saturated, you have completed your job and you've given them what they need to continue growing in their new environment. So that's my video. And if you enjoyed this kind of video, go ahead and give me a like. Let me know this is the kind of content you want to see. I do a lot of nail polish videos. If you're interested in that, maybe consider subscribing. I am getting a little bit more into plant videos, so that is also going to be something I'm kind of rolling into my content at this time. And until next time, I thank you so much for coming to hang with me today. Bye!